Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to Life According to Cree the podcast, and you are now tapped in with Cree Cole. Now, tonight we are going to get into a conversation about baggage. I know people talk about baggage, they're like, no, the bag lady song, whatever, what have you. And no, I'm not talking about the cute matching luggage or the sets that you take on vacation. I am talking about the trust issues, the friendship betrayals. Who the ex who supposedly in the past is in the past but still has VIP access to the present. The friend who can't celebrate anything good happening in your life, abandonment issues, jealousy, the unpaid emotional invoices, and all the things that people carry into new connections while claiming that's just how I am. There's a difference between asking someone to understand your circumstances and everybody in your present paying for it. And baggage is not only romantic relationship problem. Some of us have actual issues with friendship baggage. Have your whole terminal filled up with a whole bunch of unnecessary things that you carried over from the last time you were friends. I was back when I had that friend group, it used to be this. Back when I had that friend group, it used to be that. One friend betrayed us, and now every new friend has to complete a whole loyalty test in order to be your friend. One relationship ended badly, and now every new partner is being investigated for a crime that they didn't commit. So tonight we're asking how much or how should we, how much baggage is too much baggage? How much grace should we give people? When when should we stop making excuses for them? And when is it time to tell somebody I care about you, but you and all these things that you carry around, all this baggage, can't come with you if you're coming along with me. So tonight, oh, so tonight we have Miss Tee Jaxs. T, welcome
Hello,
back to the
hello, hello.
conversation, girl.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Now, if y'all want to know why I'm so tickled, I had looked for a minute. I ain't know if my guest was here. I ain't know if my guest was here. I had to check. I
Don't
had
do
to
that.
double check. I had to double check.
We don't talk about what happened behind stage. We don't talk about what happened
Oh,
backstage.
I'm sorry. What they say? What are you saying? You broke the fourth wall. You broke when you
Okay.
said what's going on backstage.
I'm here now. That's all that matters.
Right now, let me ask you: what do you think about baggage, and whether or not what does bag? What do you consider, or what does baggage look like to you in relationships with others?
So I think you hit it on the head from the beginning, Cree. Right? That can be any type of unhealthy emotional damage that we carry into another relationship, any type of relationship, like you said. So if you've been dealing with somebody, they hurt you, or they told your business, whatever it may be, you may carry that on into another relationship or another friendship. And so again, it goes back to emotional, any type of emotional trauma or hurt, pain, anything like that that we bring into another relationship situation that we have not resolved or healed from,
Mm.
right?
Like,
So
mm,
if I was bullied growing up, right? I don't know how it would feel to have friends. So I'm thinking growing up, people are going to bully me, right? So
mm,
how do I allow myself not to feel that? If I'm a person that's been abused in relationships, and I've always allowed myself to be not just the physical punching bag, but the verbal and emotional punching bag, how do I allow myself to come out of that? So when we carry those things into the other relationships, anticipating the same results or even acting the same ways, that's when we know we're carrying baggage.
I know that
Did
I
that make
know that
sense?
I've been. It makes sense
Okay.
because I know that I've been judged. I've been judged before for being friends with certain people who come with certain types of baggage, but I define baggage like in different ways. Like if I'm in with romantic relationships, children, divorce, if
Okay.
the person actually got themselves together, like some people consider those things baggage, right? I don't necessarily consider those things baggage. I just consider those things a part of life. Or I've had friends that may have a little bit of a little messy past. Everybody has a little something, they've had on their plate. But that was 20 years ago, or that was 10 years ago, and they're a little bit different. You get the people who are like, oh, yeah, hey, you better watch
She was
out
a
for
hoe
that
back in the
one.
day,
Yeah, you better watch out for that one, because back when we was
or
in
she
10th
used to lie real
grade,
bad. Yeah.
yeah, we used to hang out together. You know what I'm saying? And these are conversations that you're having when you're 35, 40 years old. You know, is there a possibility that they may still have a little whatever? Yeah. But I kind of like to have full people because I don't think necessarily that something that you've been through automatically just makes you damaged. You might have went through it, but if I'm just me, like you just meeting people, you never know. They may have gotten through that and things like that. Oh, let me ask you this. Do you believe that everyone, because there's a strong belief that everybody who's over 35 is going to have some sort of baggage?
Mm, it's a good question. That's a good question. Again, that depends on the individual. So I'm gonna go back to that and what
Mhm.
they define as baggage. Like for me, like you just said, right? Children and all of that, that's part of life. But again, when you come in with emotional damage, that's, in my opinion, one of the worst types of baggage to have because you don't give yourself or the other person a chance because you don't let your guard all the way down. So then how do you allow that relationship to flourish? You don't, because you're always holding
Right.
something back. So again, I think as we get older also, there's certain things we're not willing to tolerate anymore either, right? So
Hmm.
where we may have been okay with I don't know, staying out late for your significant other, or in a friend association, maybe it's the inside joke and somebody calls you, um it was an inside joke and you fell and they call you slips or something like that. I don't know. Right. After a
Yeah.
while, you no longer want to
Hmm.
deal with that. So you say, okay, I don't want to deal with that. So next time something happens to you, you're not friends with these people no more because you fell out. So if something happens to you again and you hurt yourself, let's say, for example, you hurt yourself, these people are not going to look at you, but you like, okay, I don't know how I'm gonna be taken because last time I was a joke because I fell or whatever it may be. It just
Hmm.
it depends on the individuals. And I think the only way you can really deal with baggage is being able to find relationships where you can learn to unpack that baggage. Does that make sense?
Because I think that's one of the biggest things is not whether or not you have the baggage, like you said, it's whether or not you're able to actually unpack and unpack it, or if you're willing or still dragging people through the baggage that you got. Because like if you gonna sit down, if you somebody opens themselves up to me, like they have a past, because a lot of times, especially in smaller areas, everybody know your past,
Mm-hmm.
or at least knows at least some version of your
Of it.
past,
Right.
especially if it wasn't the best.
Right.
So like I know I'm willing to still, if I see something in that person, I'm still willing to, you know, hang out with them and actually get to know them. And a lot of it is to see whether or not they dealt with that. Because a lot of times people don't think so, but a lot of times people will bring stuff up to you that you had absolutely, that you may have known a little something about or didn't know nothing about. And they'll
Mm-hmm.
just start talking to you about it. And you say, well, wait a minute. Okay. Okay. Oh, this the afternoon we had it. Because they feel like they're in a safe space.
Yep.
And that gives them the opportunity, to unpack those things. My biggest fear is those people who are fucked up. That's why I come on at 9 o'clock. The people that are fucked up and then don't say nothing, and then you get caught off guard.
But do we really get caught off guard, Crystal? Because sometimes we be knowing.
There's something
There's
ain't
something, again, that the math is not mathing. And we can't carry no more ones.
true. True. But see, identifying somebody else's baggage, like, that's not that hard for me. I've had the kind of aha moments where I realized I got baggage that I have not. With dealing with just new people, baggage that I realized that I didn't know I had. Like, I can spot jealousy, anger, like I can peep the stuff in other people and be like, I kind of didn't like the way she said that to her. It ain't got to be about me. It can be my observations of other people.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'll also have moments where I'm in a conversation with somebody, or I'll say something and notice a reaction and go, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You might be a little messy. You. Because this is something that you say and do all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it just don't, in that new space, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. It feels wrong. So, like, what are some of the signs when a person is carrying unresolved baggage, you think, but they just don't recognize it? Because I've done a lot of self-regulating therapy and things to be able to not even discern, to be able to say, okay, this is this, and this. My emotional intelligence and everything and awareness of myself has grown a lot in the past about 3 years. However, I know some people, they ain't there yet.
I would probably say one of the things is pay attention to how people react to certain things. And that'll tell you. Because again, baggage also can tie into emotional intelligence. Because when you become more self-aware, so when you become more self-aware, you understand the importance of grace, right? Because you give yourself grace every day. Then you see things from a different perspective. But if you're a person that's still stuck in unresolved, unhealed, traumatic events, and that's how you're still responding, then you're not going to be a person that's going to have a healthy relationship, because you're going to find the negatives and stuff, right? So if I feel like everybody's always going to cheat on me or everybody's going to leave me, I start to do certain things that show that, you know what, I feel like I'm not worthy of your presence, or I don't want to get too close because I'm afraid that you will leave also, or that you will actually find out who I really am and not like who I really am, for people that put on facades before they
Mm-hmm.
allow themselves to show up. Now, I feel bad for those types of people, because the kind of baggage that they're carrying is that they've never been able to truly be who they are or live in their own truth. That's another form of baggage when you think about it, because that's almost,
Mm-hmm.
and if you could think about baggage and bondage almost in tandem, right? So these are things that you carry, or things that you may feel like hold you back, or that bind you or keep you in a specific position or in a certain mindset. Then
Right.
again, it's important to find those different relationships, or those different relationships that you can start to feel comfortable enough to unpack. Or even even if it's not relationships, finding a good therapist. I'm sorry, I'm big on therapy. I hate that at one point in time, our community thought that therapy was a terrible thing. You know,
That just
you
if you
go
went
to
to
them head
therapy, you just
shrinkers.
crazy.
You go to the head shrinkers. They gonna
But
put you on the medicine. And it's not even about that. Sometimes it's just
listen, and
about just
sometimes
having somebody be there that's a
talk to.
non-judgmental, or a party that has absolutely nothing to gain from listening to you talk.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes we need the medicine. A
Well, yeah,
little,
that's
a
true too.
little, a little self-regulation feel, a little something just to cut that little edge off. As someone who is high functioning and runs at 100, even when it looks like I'm not running on 100. A little something to take the edge off. Like I've always been like with my therapist because I've had her since 2021, and with her, number one, like you said, back in the day, you didn't take your kids to get looked at for certain things.
Mm-mm.
They just needed discipline, or they just needed this, or they just needed that. That wasn't really our thing. You're gonna take them people, you're gonna take that child over there to people, and the people is gonna have your child on that medication.
Yep.
I did well because my parents kept a lot of structure around me. So since my household was so structured, I was able to still, get my work done, all of that. But I'm 99.9% sure, and I won't let her test me. I won't let her test me now. But that during that time that I am on the spectrum. And but my family, the way that my family structure was, they were able to regulate me. Like they were able, my mom and dad were able to get me. Now, I remember sometimes where, and my mom and them would talk about it, where they said I always was smart, I always talked a lot, I always found out new things. I was always inquisitive, all the things. But how sometimes I was just overwhelming. And I remember telling my therapist that, and she was like, "Did you ever get tested?" I was like, "Oh, no. I'm an
Oh no,
80s
we don't
baby.
do that.
I was 80s baby. My mom and daddy wasn't taking me to go nowhere to get. I was smart. I could read. I could write. And when they told me to sit down and hush, I sat down and hush. That's all they needed. Despite all the other stuff I was doing, how I moved around, how I communicated, didn't matter. So like I think that a lot of adults, even when they have like the baggage and stuff, they don't want to go and talk to someone. But like you said, having like a third party that their only reason for being there
Mm-hmm.
is to listen to whatever. You may have said you were coming in there for this, that, or whatever. You might have a day where you have your session for a couple other things that happen, and you come in there talking about that, or you have now because one thing I found out that people that go to therapy do, they start self-diagnosing themselves about the third session. I was told that. She was like, it ain't uncommon. Start getting nervous and start finding all types of other things wrong with you. Um, but with having somebody who's a third party who has absolutely nothing to gain and nothing to lose, other than doing their job and giving like the right type of guidance. Now, can independence become an excuse for never allowing anyone to get close? Because, like
Yes.
you were saying a little earlier, there are people who will like avoid certain situations because of the baggage that they have. So, what do you like think of some of the pitfalls of like that avoidance based on your
Well,
baggage?
I would say if avoidance is one thing. Okay, so let's go back to the independence thing, right?
Okay.
Independence is actually a defense mechanism because if we were supposed to be independent, solely independent, why are there so many people on the earth?
Right.
Why
Simple.
do we as individuals sometimes, even if you're not a sociable person, even the most antisocial people have at least one person that they can actually talk to
Mm-hmm.
most of the time?
Mm-hmm.
Unless they're, well, no, most of the time, yeah. Especially if they find they vibe and they tribe, right? And I learned that from working at the governor school. Like a lot of those kids
Okay.
there, if they were in regular classes, some of them,
Mm-hmm.
if some of them was at Wilson, West Florence, South Florence, they might not have had as many friends as they had once they got to the governor school because they found their vibe and they tribe and they were able to thrive
Yeah.
because of that. right? So then you no longer have to have that defense mechanism of independence or feeling like you can't be a part of certain things. Like I've seen where a lot of young people where they first got to governor school, and it was ironic to me, they didn't really talk to a whole lot of people. By the time the end of the year, and we have that last party, they in the party dancing with their friends in the corner because they now have their vibe and their tribe. So I
Right.
think that's why it's important for us not to isolate as much, or at least find some type of outlet in order to get yourself out there so that way you can stop avoiding and start building healthy relationships, because it's not meant. There are some times that we do need to isolate, especially when we want to elevate to get to where it is that our purpose is for. But if we use that as an excuse of I'm just a homebody, you don't never go nowhere, ever,
Ever.
ever,
You don't
ever,
never leave the house.
ever, ever.
Ain't
And
no
you say
way.
you work from home, you fit to be a recluse.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now. So you have to have some type of outlet. If it's nothing more than going to the movies, go take yourself out to eat. Do something. Um, I don't know. The one thing I do know is that when you start to talk about avoiding situations, avoiding places, or avoiding people, that's another defense mechanism. Because will I be accepted when I get there? That could be another issue that some people may have. I've never been accepted in these areas, so would I be accepted here? So let me not even try. And then it goes back to fear as well, because fear is another one that stops you, that puts those things in your head of you don't need to go in there, you don't need to go do that, you don't need to be with those people.
Right.
So, but understanding who you are, and again, understanding like you don't. I think when you have a true understanding of who you are as an individual, things become a little clearer. Now, not saying that they become 100%, translucent with, crystal clear, no pun
Cause you go
intended, Cree, right? But you have better vision. So
right.
certain things, especially when you're in self-reflection and you're in self-healing, because you want to get rid of this baggage, because you know it's heavy and this load is a pain in the behind. And guess what? I don't have to carry it by myself. But then that's also where faith comes in too. So it's so many different components that go into all of that.
Now, do you think that oftentimes can make people overwhelmed? Because being like in this space, right, with like even before like the whole life coaching thing, like being in the space with, I say like young girls, because I was around young girls for over a decade, with coaching and stuff like that, and sometimes they would be going through things, and they felt like there were so many different people coming at so many different angles of how it can get better
Mm-hmm.
all at once. So a lot of times they will feel overwhelmed to the point where they kind of use even the ones who, because I was in little small school district. So if you came out there to the gym, you was on the team, even if you never got a chance to play. So a lot of times, like
Look,
girls,
I was out there too, Carrie.
right. So, some of them, they just ain't had it. But because they kind of were drawn to wanting to play a sport because that was one space, like they couldn't explain it this way, but it was one space where whatever they were dealing with, they didn't have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they also didn't have grandma saying that my mama needs to take me to church and it's gonna get better. So and so saying that my mama need to go take me to a doctor and it gonna get better. So and so saying like that would be one place where that would be the place that they made their safe space, and they were willing to do whatever physical thing they needed to do to be able to remain in that place because that's where they had peace. So do you think? And I know that as an adult, sometimes it is a little overwhelming when you're going through things with all the different, like everything can help, but when it's all coming at you at once, I know it can start to feel like, well, where do I even start? You know, with trying to get better. Because I think I'm doing this and I think I'm doing that. And I think I found for me, I remember I had to, with a lot of the baggage that I had from when I moved back home, I had to like actually take steps. Like, go, okay, I am praying and I'm focusing on prayer right now. I'm starting here. And then I had to like kind of build, okay, now I'm gonna start doing this because this was suggested to me and this kind of works for me. Now I'm gonna start, and it almost like I created a plan without creating a plan. I just
Mm-hmm.
couldn't do it because it starts to, and you start to feel overwhelmed, and you start to feel like I got all this stuff going on. I got this baggage and everything, and there's so much coming at me. So you just say, forget it. Just forget it all. Some people actually do that and they just sit in whatever that thing was for long periods of time. Like I noticed that with people and they'll be like, well, I just don't understand how you change that. And I'm like, well, I can't really tell you how to do that for you because just because I've seen people be overwhelmed and I knew how overwhelming that was for me. So like when people are dealing with so many things and they start to feel overwhelmed, like what are some things you think they could possibly do to kind of regulate, even if they don't know that's what it's called?
So one of the best things you could do is actually grounding, in my personal and professional opinion. And you can do ground in so many different ways. You have the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. You have the actual going outside and grounding, um, taking your shoes off and just planting your feet in some grass and some sand
Mm-hmm.
and some earth period, and just allowing yourself to just take everything in around you. Another thing you can do is, of course, what's worked for me in the past, journaling. Um, I'm big on journaling as well. Sometimes I go back and look at stuff and I be like, oh, who, oh, we was dealing with some stuff
It
right
was
there,
a time.
but
It was a time.
baby, and the time was not had. A time, look here, it took me through there, right? It took me through there, but however,
Them journals will show you where you've been and how far
right,
you
and
made it.
so. Right. And so then when I look back at that stuff, I can only say, but God, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
if I didn't have proof of what I went through, I got it when I look at them journals. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we don't look like what we've been through, but that's a blessing. That's part of grace. Um, Another thing people can do is, again, find somebody that you can actually confide in. Again, I'm not pushing therapy because I am a therapist. I'm pushing therapy because I believe it works.
Right.
If you find the right person for you, um and sometimes finding the right person for you is not always the ideal person you thought would be the appropriate person for you. For a long
Mm-hmm.
time I thought, hands down, and I can't tell a lie, and whoever want to say whatever they can, I thought I had to have an African American female that was raised like I was raised,
Yep.
that understood all my value systems, and it worked for a little while. But then I felt, once they found out what I did as a profession, it was more judgment being done than anything. And that kind of pissed me off.
Because why are you
So,
going through this?
huh?
Why don't you like kind of like, well, why don't you know better?
Right.
Like
You
that
know,
kind of
you should
judgment.
know better. Come on now. You got the same degree I got, and you was raised with your grandparents. Doop, 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 and you didn't have no real hard life. You, a lot of that stuff you created yourself. Okay, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. But if I'm coming to therapy, I'm not coming for judgment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming for me to unpack, not to unpack and then feel like, okay, well, I took 7 shirts out. Now I got to take 4 back.
Yep.
So you only let me get a little bit of stuff out, but then you still left me with the rest of this. And I'm thinking I could get all of this out. You know, it's crazy because now my therapist that I have now, she's younger than me, and it's crazy. And she's white. Like
I
completely.
gotta,
When
I
I say
gotta,
opposite,
I gotta. I got a white guy and he
See,
younger
and
than me.
I wouldn't even
And
mind
that's
that, but it
and
worked.
he
It
my
panned
business.
out because the one thing I will say about her is that even when she found out what my credentials were, it was never
Mm-hmm.
an issue. It was like she said, and she told me specifically. She said, "Oh, okay, I figured that as much." To me, that said,
Cause she
"Okay,
was
so that means I got
listening.
to step my game up."
Right. I'm gonna
And
have
so
to.
when I say
I know what you know. So now I gotta make sure I am on point with me.
right,
That's the way it's supposed to be. Like you said earlier, iron sharp iron.
so I'm thankful again and finding another way people can help in their own. And I think everybody is in some form of recovery, right? Or we should be if we want growth. So when you're in recovery, there's stages to your recovery. So of course you're not just gonna come out the box and knock it out, even if you're doing physical therapy or anything like that. You're not just gonna knock it out the box and do 1,000 of whatever or however whatever. You're not gonna go full throttle. You have to pace yourself, and that's the same thing with when you're dealing with any type of baggage, even if it's nothing more than, and not to say nothing more than, but for anybody that thinks that a person that's divorced coming into a relationship may be baggage, especially if children are attached, right? Because
Right.
you add children, that's a whole nother situation. So how do we deal with how do we deal with you all co-parenting and us having a relationship and then you being able to spend time with your children and being able to spend time with me, and then if you throw in the significant other now has children too, so now how do we, if we decide we want to be together, how do we make this a blended family? So all things that need to be talked out and I think can be talked through. But again, number one thing is having good communication. And you can't have good communication if you are still holding on to unresolved trauma and or hurt, which is another form of, again, baggage.
Right.
And I'm gonna drink on that.
Like, girl, you said you gonna drink, you gonna take a sip. But take your sip because we gonna shift gears a little bit, girl with that Stanley. With that Stanley. You know I keeps mine like a cooler.
I know.
Nah, nah, let's talk about what happens when somebody gets sentenced to something somebody old did. Like, we'll start a new friendship. A close friend shares your business, competed with you, or abandoned you when you needed them. Now, every new friend is kept at arm's length and
Wait a minute.
secretly
No, you
tested.
got to repeat yourself because I got to make
I
sure
gotta
I hear
repeat.
you right.
Hold on. So you get a new friend. You get a new friend, you get a new friend circle. Now your last people, the last people you was a last close friend, shared your business, talked about you, shared your business. You realized they were competing with you for whatever reason. Every time you got something, they had to one up you. Or you had like the friend that you feel like, because sometimes it don't be true. Some that you feel like abandoned you when you needed them. Now every new friends you get gotta go through the Hunger Games obstacle course in order to see whether or not they could be your friend. Like you start secretly testing everybody. Is that wisdom, or are you making new friends audition for a role that they never were asked to play, or replace someone who was never meant to be replaced?
So I'm gonna say this, and I'm trying to think of the best way to say it. I'm just gonna say it, right?
Let's see.
A lot of times we test people period point blank and we don't even know we're testing them. Because whenever we start to tell our business, we wait to see how long it's gonna take for it to come back.
For to
Or who else
circle
is
back
gonna hear
around
it,
the
right?
block. Right.
Um, just to see, are you trustworthy enough for me to talk to you about my business? So,
Mhm.
and I don't think that's just in one specific relationship. I think that's in especially friendship circles, especially when you have,
Right. Right.
especially when you have clusters of friends, right?
Right.
Um, it just, you know who you confide in, you know who you talk to. However, if somebody in that group breaks that trust, then you feel like how many other people in this group would break my trust as
Would
well,
do the same thing.
right?
Because
Because they
I
say
know.
birds of a feather flock together. However,
Right.
comma, we shouldn't put people, as you said, Crystal, in a position that they never asked to be signed up for.
Right.
Because so I got so almost like on what is it? 5 Heartbeats of Temptations, 5 Heartbeats. Every night I got to fight to prove my love.
Foul heartbeat. Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't have to prove to you. My action should be enough. I shouldn't have to jump through hoops in order for you to know that I'm there for you, to let you know that I rock with you the long way. But
Right.
unfortunately, some people have been done so dirty over the years that they don't see it any other way. Like, you have to earn that from me. But then that also goes into knowing your people. If you know who
Right.
you're dealing with, or if you're vigilant in getting to know a person and know more about the individual themselves, not just what you've seen, not just what you've heard from other people, but what you've observed and what you've obtained from them from conversations, because true friendships thrive and are a foundation from personal conversations that you've had with
Right.
people, like being able to know, okay, you know what, Tish was raised by her grandparents. So you know what? That's who she calls mom and daddy. So when she refers to mom and daddy, I know that's who she's talking about. And I know she has
Mm-hmm.
some unresolved issues with her biological mother. So, whenever something is going on with her, let me make sure she's okay. Because I already know that's a
Right.
tough situation for her to deal with. And I'm thankful, and I will say this, and I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for the rest of our friend group. So,
Right. This ain't the
I'm just thankful that y'all have been very supportive through everything that I've gone through. And I'm transparent. So I basically, I just live my life transparent. So I don't have a whole lot to hide. So if I tell my business, I probably told it to somebody.
but see,
Any doggone way it came back.
I tell my business. I give like an overview. And I caught myself in this I give an overview. Like everybody gonna know that this thing is going on.
Right.
What they might not know
There's the intricacies
are
of
the
it.
intricate details, my day to day with it. And
Right.
I also kind of operate in the space of I know that as an individual, I have a person who is my safe space. That no matter who I'm around, how old I get, where I go, that person is my safe space. So
Hmm.
if there's something in me, if I cried for you, I called that person and told that person pray for us because I cried for you. So I kind of operate in the space of that everyone probably has at least one person.
Hmm.
Like you said, even the introvert that don't never leave the house
Right.
got at least one person that they confide in. So me having that understanding, if I tell things, I only tell you what I feel like you can handle because I'm gonna take the time to get to know you. I'm not gonna tell you all the intricate details of said thing that's happening in my world if I already done peeped that you don't really got too much balance of the things in yours. Not that you ain't handling them, not that you ain't carrying them, but it's no need for you to know all that. All you need to know is that it's going on. I ain't hiding it from you. I ain't trying to duck no smoke. It is going on. That's why I might be this or that. And then I got a couple of people where I give the details to it, like you said earlier. I am guilty. I'm one of the people that is guilty of saying, I wonder how if somebody come back and tell me something, and I be like, I know. Now I told everybody that I went and bought some new Jordans Saturday, But I ain't told but 2 people that they was pink and white. Only 2 people know that they was pink and white. So why is this person talking to me, talking about some? They just talking about some. Yeah, because them Jordans you told me about, girl, them pink and white Jordans gonna be. Where did you get that from? Where did you get that part from? I am guilty of that too, like you said. But because I have this thing in my head of it, everybody's gonna tell, no matter what I say to them, they might have at least one person. I think they gonna tell the whole world. I ain't thinking people gonna sit around and have a conversation about me. But just if they have at least one person that they consider a safe space, where when they start to feel overwhelmed, because you got your own stuff. Now I done told you some of my stuff. There might be a lot of stuff. You might have had to give that little bit of that to your people, and that's okay with me. I just don't want to hear it on a Sunday afternoon while I'm sitting at a table eating chicken wings. So I don't want. I don't want to find out then.
Not the Sunday afternoon eating chicken wings. It's the Sunday afternoon eating chicken wings for me, Crystal.
Because
I mean,
usually when I get this gonna sound crazy, but when the Lord wants to tell me something, He don't wait. He don't tell me something when I call myself in my closet and quiet, focused in and meditating. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Live action movie. Because he said, see, you don't believe nothing. They show me what I'm seeing too. So let me show you so you can see it. So you won't be
exactly what the
questioning me
TI is.
later.
Mm-hmm.
My daddy know me. Just like my physical daddy know me, my spiritual daddy know me too. You got to show me because you can tell me, but I ain't gonna believe you until I do it. But I know that a lot of people have like the trust thing is supposed to be earned. But like, what do you think? Should it be earned? Should it be offered? Because I get a lot of flack for my view on it. But should it be earned? Should it be offered? Or should it be developed gradually?
So I'm gonna go completely against the grain, right? So one of one of my favorite rappers, may he rest in peace, DMX, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
He
mm-hmm.
said the most profound thing when he said, always trust people to be who they are. So understanding that principle for me is how I operate when it comes to trust.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna trust you to be exactly who you were designed and who you behave to be. If you would tell everybody business, big mouth, don't know how to shut up, I'm gonna trust you to just be exactly who you are. So then I know I only need to get this here for this much information, or I only need to get this MF
Bitch,
this much information because
motherfucker.
guess what?
Mm-hmm.
You run your suckers, okay? And we got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody is a kind person, I'm gonna trust them to be a kind person. If a person is a snake, I'm gonna trust them to be a snake because guess what? You show me who you are, and I'm okay with that. Now I know how to handle you. I know how to move forward with you. I know how to operate with you or not to operate with you at all.
Yep.
And if I choose not to operate with you, perfect example, like this is the bad part about it. Okay, complete realness, right? It's amazing being a kind person. It's amazing. I love being a kind person, but it comes to bite you on your behind at the same time sometimes because that's when people think you kind of soft. And when people start to
Truly.
think you soft, they try to handle you all kinds of way until you put them
Mm-hmm.
in their place. And when you put them in their place, it's like, oh yeah, yeah,
They don't
yeah.
know. Yeah, it's that too. It's what you
So
thought and this too.
right. So I need two things can be true at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It can be. So when you start to again operate in the mindset of let me just trust people for who they are, it's easier for you to trust people because you know what information you giving them, you know how you gonna deal with them. And the crazy part about it is especially when you start to invite people into your friend circles, or you start to invite your significant other into meeting your friends. We all know we do the prep.
Right.
We know we do the prep. And
there
for
was a
anybody
there
that
was a whole there was a whole conversation like,
conversation,
listen, I'm bringing so and so. This my people. I know dot 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 dot. Cause I know, cause see, I was around y'all for a while, but not actually introduced to the group. I was kind of just over like around. And then I remember when I officially kind of got like, Crystal gonna be here because I'm about to invite. Like
but
it seemed,
so
but
but
I
go ahead,
wasn't
Cree.
sure. I was like, am I in the group? Am I not in the group? I don't know if I'm in the group. So I'm gonna talk to everybody like I've been talking to everybody because this is how I am. But I ain't gonna think I'm in the group until I'm in the group. Until somebody like double wink at me like I get a.
Well, but the crazy part about it is you never had to wait to know that you was in the group.
But I didn't know. But that's just the way my personality is set up. Even if I wasn't in the group, I like everybody in the group. So I'm just
Right.
gonna talk to everybody in the group because I like everybody in the group. But I wasn't sure. I didn't. I'll make you laugh. What was it? It wasn't specific. It wasn't. Matter of fact, I can tell you when I said, "Wait a minute, I might be. I might be in the group." I'll tell you what it was. Wilson homecoming last year. Wilson homecoming last year because like Crystal, you coming, ain't it? I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm coming. Yeah, I'm coming. I was like, I got the time that night. I think I'm in the group. I call my whole mind like, I think I'm in the group. I mean, I call my sister said, nah, you won't really do good with groups. Like you do good with people, but like actual group, like a set group. I was like, no, 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 no. I was like, it's not that. It's like like I said earlier, it's like a group. It's like groups. It's groups of a group. And she was like, that makes sense to me. So I'm gonna say, okay. I feel like you okay. You say, like, no, it's like a group of it's like groups of a group, but it's a group because they're identified together. But it's groups of a group because I've met all of them, the ones that I have had conversation with. It is different on all levels, and like you
Mm-hmm.
said, like when you learn how to deal with people where they at, it changes how you do with trust. Like
Yep.
I tell people, I start people off at 100, no matter who they are, because like you said, I accept you. I'm befriending you or around you for exactly who you are.
Yep.
Exactly who you show me is who I am accepted. So you add 100. Now, if you start doing things that are now unexpected, you could drop. I could be like, oh, I can't really do this. I thought I could. I can't really.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to hold you. I'm trying to hold you down. Like I'm trying to hold you down. Like we cool, but you're doing a little too much for me. I can't really.
But see, that's the good thing. That's the good thing I love about being grown, being a grown woman. And when you start to know more about who you are, then you know what your boundaries are and you know what your limitations are. And so you already know, okay, now if I hear them say something else about such and such one more again, or if I hear somebody say something about my people, I'm going off. That's when you know, okay, I'm at a different level. And you're not just sitting back trying to have everybody like you. You know,
Right.
I this being grown thing is different because you know what you're going to deal with and what you're not going to deal with. And especially when you pay all your own bills and you take care of yourself, your level of
Look,
tolerance for bullshit is diminished.
and once you realize that you can be in a space with people that ain't necessarily your kind of people. But they're going to be in that space when you can be mature enough
Yep.
to still move within that space. That's that grown woman
Mm-hmm.
shit too. Because a lot of women can't do it without it always constantly being drama.
So we know about a situation that happened around my birthday time.
Right.
When we had a group chat and people asked to be out of the group chat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay. You are entitled to feel how you feel. And I'm thankful that I hate the way it happened, but I'm thankful that it showed up the way it did.
Right.
Right. So moving forward, when I have to, and I don't have to do anything, but anytime I choose to be in a space with that specific group of women, and I know that individual will be there, it's crazy because everybody is on eggshells.
And
Everybody's
you
on
ain't.
eggshells. Like,
And
how
you
is this
ain't.
going to go? Huh?
And say, and you're not even on eggshells. That's the
And
thing.
I'm just looking like, bruh, it ain't even that serious because, man. So I think once you get to a certain level, it's like, I'm going to move the way I move regardless, because if this person is here or not, I'm still going to be genuinely and authentically who I am, because that's just who I am. If I always, and everybody knows this, it's no lie, I'm the biggest hugger in the entire world. Am I lying,
Y'all be
Crystal?
doing y'all be doing all that touching. I ain't my mama love me, but I wouldn't raise all that touching. That'd be a lot for me. But
Right.
I'm getting better
It
as
take me
it goes.
20 minutes to get through the room. Right.
Everybody. Everybody.
Hey baby, how you? Hey. So, and again, and when it's time to leave, it's gonna take me 20 minutes to leave the building too. Unless everybody left before I did. Right? So if you're in a space, I'm not gonna move any different, because I
Right.
shouldn't have to. Just because I have, and that's the other thing I'm thankful for. And I learned this in high school. Just because I may not be friends with somebody that you're friends with doesn't mean I want you to go ahead and not be friends with them. Because guess
That
what?
part.
My issue with them is not a you issue. They probably never did
Mm-hmm.
anything to you the capacity that they did to me. So how dare I tell you, oh, well, if you really my friend, you won't talk to them. That is the most childish BS I have ever heard in my entire
And
life.
what's crazy is the fact that those conversations still come up in this big grown space that we're in now. That
Now, I'm gonna
there's
tell you
still
one day,
those types of women who have like that issue now, 30 years later after high school.
I need them to go have several seats and go ahead and, matter of fact, they can have them all at the same time. Lay cross them, stack them up, whatever you want to do. Just have all several of the seats as you choose, and realize life is bigger than just you, ma'am. Because
Mm-hmm.
if I allow myself not to interact with people, I don't know what kind of blessing I might be blocking, or I don't know what kind of blessing I might be blocking for the other person. So how dare I say, okay, and I'm gonna throw it out there. How dare I say, Crystal, you can't be friends with Keena, no, because I'm not friends with Keena. We all know that ain't gonna happen, because that my road dog,
you
right?
see the yeah, come
Right.
so
And if she
bad.
watches, she gonna cuss me out. But she ain't really. But you see what I'm saying? But how dare I say that, especially if y'all have had a good rapport, especially if
Mm.
y'all have had a good relationship. That's just like when I brought my best friend came from Colombia.
For your birthday,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Just with her pretty tall
Everybody fell
self.
in love with her. It was like, oh my gosh, she's so right. I'm like, y'all do know that's my best friend, though, right? That's my best friend.
My best friend.
But again, it was no need for me to be like, oh well, no, y'all can't be talking to my friend like that. That's my friend. No, that.
Right.
That's how I want my friendships and associations to be. When I bring new people in or new people come, I want us to be able to love on each other, because that's what we should be doing as women anyway. We shouldn't be out here hating on each other. We should be lifting each other up at all costs, because guess what? Society tears us down enough. And one of the problems that I have with a lot of our women, period, black, white, whatever. We get so caught up on what other people think and or say that we forget that we need to work together in order to make things
Mhm.
better for our society. Because at the end of the day, no dig on the men, but most of the time when stuff had to be organized, who did it? The women. But we got to work together to
Right.
do it. We have to work together to do it. And we can't do it by being jealous of each other. Oh, well, she thinks she all of that because she got such and such. Well, baby, you can have it too. You know how many jobs that woman work? That's why she driving that
Listen,
Mercedes Benz. That's
you have
why
no
she got that.
idea.
You don't know how she got that Bentley. You don't know how she got that house. You don't know that. You don't know. Hell, you don't know if she took out a loan. You don't know if she's in. You don't know what somebody is dealing with. So instead of tearing people down, we're tearing other women down. We should be lifting them up, and that's one of the things I am grateful for with our groups is that we fool up. We like to have a good time. But I
Mhm.
can guarantee you, when we get together, it's a good time had in a positive way, and I'm thankful for that.
Mhm.
Um,
And there's a like the encouragement I've seen where an experience for myself where the setting may be one thing,
mhm,
but that doesn't mean that a moment of encouragement or positive affirmation isn't shared still within that same space.
right.
It could be a whole party going on. Kina about threw me the other day. I done mentioned her name again. I'm gonna have to tag her. I had to tag her as a guest. She threw she threw me Thursday. Cause I'm like, I'm in the space. And we had a whole
But
nother
you,
conversation unrelated. But
but you know, but
that's
but
one
you
of the
know why?
reasons.
Because you gave her flowers. You see what I'm saying? So that's when you know. That's when you know you dealing with stand up women. When you could say, okay, you know what, this person blessed me just by being a part of my life, by just smiling at me some days. You don't know how you could help a person.
Mm-hmm.
You never
Mm-hmm.
know. So that's why I always say kindness is important. And I just wish more people were kind and not so self-serving or so selfish in certain aspects. Kindness don't cost nothing. And I meant to say it just like that. Kindness don't cost nothing. And I know it's a double negative and there might be a triple negative. Ain't no dog gonna tell it. However, whosoever will let them come. Right? But we
Yeah.
know the bad part about it is kindness doesn't cost, but some people are poor in it still.
Mm-hmm.
How can you be poor from something that's free?
Right.
Come on, it doesn't cost anything. And you might save somebody's life that one day just from being kind. You might brighten up somebody's day just by saying good morning.
People don't realize that kind thing that you said to that person on that day might have been the day where they were figuring out all day how they weren't going to be here tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I.
But because they heard, because their unsolicited, unasked for thing that you said to them made them say, wait a minute, somebody do see me. Just the fact that you saw them can change a person's entire perspective on their day or for their entire life or what they
Mhm,
see for their life going forward. And I don't think that people realize the power that words and recognition and just the attention can
mhm,
give to somebody else. Like I'm always thrown at the people who won't say good morning or won't
mhm,
either say excuse me. Because
mhm,
sometimes people are struggling with just being seen. You know how many people in their lives because they felt like they were moving through the world unseen
mhm,
off of little slight things. Like they held the door open for somebody and they didn't say thank you. Or they let somebody in through traffic and you know how people don't do to throw their hand up when you
mhm.
let them get over. Like, and
Oh, I cut
those
you
will be
down.
their reasons.
You sorry, sap sucker. You no good
Cause
enough.
they throw their hand. You could have threw your
Mm,
hand.
mm, 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 mm.
That's it. See, I can't. I can't. When do you get mad at them for not throwing their hand up?
I was like, well, dang, you welcome.
Well, since we here, let's transition over to when it comes to romantic relationships. Because, okay, someone has cheated before. They're in a new relationship. They check the phones. They question every woman that comes within 100 yards. They monitor the social media, be clicking on the likes and who reacted, all the things, and change in routine. Like, okay, before we moved in together, okay, you came home every day at 5:30. You took a shower by 7. You was eating by 8. You was on the phone by 9. Like they wanted them. Like an opening scene of cheaters. Should the new partner be patient because they understand the history, or do you feel like that's controlling behavior, wearing a cute little costume?
It is unresolved trauma and hurt that needs to go get some help, because no relationship that they move and moving forward is going to be healthy, because they are never going to be vulnerable enough and or trusting enough in order for the relationship to flourish. Because in the back of their mind, it's always going to be, oh, well, the last person cheated on me, so this one going to cheat on me too. Oh, well,
Right.
and you just waiting for the other shoe to drop. So then you become a pain in the other person's behind, because guess what? Well, damn, all I did was go to Krispy Kreme to go get 2 donuts, and here I got you one too. Damn.
I got you. I didn't call you to tell you I was going to Krispy Kreme.
Because
However,
I'm trying to
you
surprise
see
you.
Krispy Kreme. You see it. And I got your
Come
favorite donut.
on. Come on.
And I,
And I got your favorite. I got you the birthday cake one.
I know I didn't call you and tell you I was going to Krispy Kreme. But you see the Krispy Kreme. And the
And the
response
hot
is,
light was on. What was I supposed to do?
you know that when the highlight on, you got to pull over right there when you see it or turn around.
Because don't we pull over every time the hot light on?
When we in a
Okay.
car together, babe, I said, I saw the hot light. I said, ooh, let me get the donuts.
So
You
then
would
that
be
then
amazed
that
at how
becomes
much
then
I
that
do.
becomes another issue. Because then here it is, then you add stress to this person that didn't have that original stress in the first place. And if they are a person that, depending on where they are in their self-worth and their value of self, then that might have them questioning themselves. Or
Right.
it might make them actually cheat. Well, hell, you saying I'm doing it anyway, so I might as well go ahead. Might as well give you something to
Now,
talk about. Or better yet, let me just leave your crazy rump alone before somebody get hurt.
I remember back in my younger days, very young, like
3 years ago.
20 years ago, I remember that very thing was said to me. You keep thinking I'm cheating. I might as well go ahead and cheat. And I remember what my reaction is. I don't know how long the statute of limitation is on crimes, but I know I remember what my physical reaction was to them saying that. And they, in fact, did do the very thing that I was accusing them of doing. And then circle back to use that as a justification for what they did. They were like,
Now,
I just didn't see what it was going to be. I remember because I was still very scatterbrained, very 20-ish, very emotions all over the place. But I remember and he still remembers to this day that I told him, if you loved me, you would have never cheated on me. You just would have left me alone.
that's real.
And you don't love me. Because you could have just left. You didn't have to cheat on me. You could have just left me alone.
But I'm gonna be honest with you, Crystal. As a reformed cheater,
Yo, this is the second week of people being Talk about that. He used to want to on people.
You say what?
This is the second week of me having a guest that's like, well,
Right.
because I done did it.
So my issue was emotional cheating, not actual physical.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's worse than the physical, right? Because at that point in time, I was emotionally depleted. I didn't understand. What my value or my worth was. So I felt I had to find it in interactions from other people or getting validation from other people instead of remembering that it solely came from who I am, the individual that God had created me to be. It didn't come from anything else. And trying to find joy and happiness through other people. And I did myself a disservice and I did my relationship a disservice. However, where I am now and my grownness, if I'm not getting what I need or I feel like I'm not being fulfilled, the best thing for me to do is to leave.
Right.
Because that way we might be hurt, but it won't be the same type of hurt. We'll be hurt
Right.
because we had to separate, not because I caused you trauma or pain of making you feel like you weren't worthy enough of all my love and affection.
Right. Because there's a difference. The way that a relationship ends makes a difference in how you carry on going forward.
Right.
I tell people that I don't have any bad relationships with exes because there were conversations had. Like people talk about they be wanting the closure. I dealt with men who wanted to tell me why,
Mm-hmm.
even if it wasn't the best reason why. Like that wanted to have the conversation, and I was gonna have if it was me going, I'm gonna have the conversation. They probably didn't even see it coming. They probably
Mm-hmm.
were thinking thought we were on one program, and we were actually on a whole nother one. I had already peeped what it was, so let me go ahead and get out of it before I have to act like the people on the TV. Before I have to act like like we in a movie. I don't want to
Okay,
do that.
Snap.
So we're going to have the conversation, and I'm going to go ahead and exit because I don't know what my reaction is going to be if I continue to allow this to go on. So like I don't have like the bad ex thing because there was always some form of conversation, whether it was immediately or it was 8 months later and we just happened to be at the gas station and see each other 4 pumps over. But like I know I hate it for people who can't who have to go through the things and not get the closure and then carry all of that into the next thing that they get into with somebody
Mm-hmm.
and start off like I hear girlfriends be like, they be like, yeah, I met this guy, but I don't know if I'm a fool with him because he kind of sort of like such and such. And he said this thing that sounded like so and so. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, might be on the same type of song. And I was like, whoa, 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 that's just like a general thing the
But
guys be thinking. Just slow
but is
down.
that bad to have your guard up, to be cautious? Especially it's because if it looked like a duck and it quacked like a duck, 10 times out of 10 it's a
It's
duck.
it's a duck. It's a duck, but sometimes it's a little too sometimes it's a little
Premature.
too quick.
Okay.
Like it could be like simple things or and I think that it'd be simple things because they be having an expectation of okay, you got my phone number, you wanted to talk to me, we're talking on the phone, we're communicating with each other. So this is the way that you should be moving. But that may just not be the way that person moves, and they don't give it enough time to kind of get to actually know the person before they start saying, "This is a red flag. This is a red flag. This is whoa."
But at the same time, that's why that is where communication has to come in. And effective communication at that. Not just effective, active listening on both ends, asking those open-ended questions that need to be asked, you know, asking those difficult questions. Because I think sometimes people don't want to ask those difficult questions because they don't really want to know the truth.
Right.
So if you don't really want to ask those difficult questions, then you're gonna be up the creek with no paddle, just floating around and shit.
I I happen to be kind of playing on a paddle, playing on a rowboat right now.
Keep on now.
I'm kind of playing on a rowboat right now. I have not got into the low stream yet. I ain't hit the low stream yet. I'm kind of that.
Just
But I keep telling
make sure
myself
ain't no
I
waterfall
need
coming no
to.
time soon.
I just keep saying I know that there are things that I need to ask and I need to say in order to not escalate the situation, not to speed up the situation, but for clarity.
Mm-hmm.
But for clarity. Not so much even for that other person, for me. Because I am the loyal. When I if you are my friend, you are my friend. No matter what the situation is, the friendship consists of. But
So
my
I
loyalty only
understand.
extends to a certain point. My loyalty only extends to a certain point. And I be needing clarity in order to determine what I can and I cannot do outside of the friendship. And speaking of, and speaking of, when it comes to these romantic relationships, do you think people are busy, burning, or just not showing up? And I know that I have had a lot of conversations where I know women, when it comes to friendships and romantic relationships, they have an expectancy of a certain level of, what's the way to put it? A certain level of presence from other
Mm-hmm.
people, whether it be their friends or their romantic partner. Um, and I know some of them, like, they pray for this man who makes X amount of money, who moves in certain spaces. Like he the man when you look across the room, like Jill and them say, I seen you across the room talking to some men, and I just love your ambition, baby. Yeah, like you one
Mm-hmm.
of them men. And then they be feeling away because they busy all the time. Or they think and they start thinking, oh, well, he just or they're not explaining it that way. They're saying, he just don't want to do nothing with me. He just ain't got no time for me. He just ain't got no. But baby, you ask for a certain kind of man, and a certain kind of man come with certain types of things.
But see, then that's also where you have to know what you're asking for, and you have to also that's
Because
so.
I know you have to be fair with it, and not everything is a dysfunction. But sometimes people be navigating like real responsibilities,
Mhm.
like real stuff that they have to get done. But people don't realize that a circumstance can really make somebody, whether it's a friend or a romantic partner,
Mhm.
that's somebody that's not your husband or your wife, can actually make that person unavailable.
Mhm.
You know, even like in the friendships and stuff like that, like dealing with children, you got Asian parents, work, health issues.
Yep.
You know, it's 2026. The finances don't finance like they was doing back in the mid 2000s. That money the same in
Look here, it ain't as
2026.
long as it used to be.
Right.
That change
So
looking real strange.
so like is that friend or that romantic partner going through, like, should we give more grace to them for maybe just going through a difficult season? Or is it fair for people to assume that their relationships are just one sided?
I think again that goes back to being able to have healthy communication. Because if you have healthy communication and you know what's going on with your friend, you know what's going on with your significant other. Um, Now, if they are a person that does not communicate well, because I've dealt with this, where they don't communicate well, it becomes frustrating to the person that's trying to be there because it's like, okay, now it's not you're busy, you're not burdened, you're pushing me away
Mhm.
because you're saying you don't have time for this, you don't have time for that, but you're not telling me how. you're not giving me enough detail to know, okay, let me hold off on bothering you. If you say, okay, I gotta make sure my mom is okay, right? And
Right.
that's all you say. And I don't talk to you for 2 days. I've called, I've texted, I've reached out. I don't hear nothing for 2 days. And then third day, you tell me your mom was in the hospital. Well, why the hell you just didn't say that from the beginning? Say the people in the hospital. Like, I'm here to be a support for you and to assist you. Then you can't get mad with people. That's when you don't always tell what you need either. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, and everybody that know me know this, I don't fool with no phone. I hate a phone and I hate talking on it. So, Crystal, I ain't lying. Think about when we go
But
out,
see,
girl.
I'm not real. I'm one of them people where my phone, I'll forget that I even got a phone
Look here.
because I want
You and me
to.
both. You and me both. So if you don't text me, call me, or you don't leave me a voicemail and say, such and such is going on, call me back immediately. I'm gonna be like, okay, I can get back to them when I get back to them. Unfortunately. And that's terrible to do as a friend, but sometimes you do get busy. And those are people that know
Mhm.
me know Tish will go to sleep in a minute. Who?
And that's one of the
Okay.
things I have to combat with having my own business and working remotely, because people tend to believe that
You ain't
because
doing nothing.
maybe a few times I actually did talk in the middle of the day because I am at home, or I did respond back really quickly because, or why ain't she responded back? Because she ain't nothing but at home. And I have to explain to people, and it never comes out good. Every time I hear it come out my mouth, I'll be like, yeah, that kind of harsh. But I don't know no other way to explain it. I work
Well,
at home, but I still work. Like some
you said
days,
that
just
sound
like with
harsh.
any job, I be feeling like it be harsh because people like, well, dog, I be like, I work from home, but I still work, and I need for you to realize that I still work. Like some days, just like with anybody's job, some days you might go to your job and you up and down the plant, or you up and down the stove all day long, you don't have a moment to rest. That might be the case. And then some days you might be able to BS around a little bit and not have to do nothing. You know, walk off, go hang and talk to some people, not really work that hard. My job is no different than your job. The only difference is I don't get dressed and get in the car and go to it every day. Some
Exactly.
days some days I can BS all day. I be on the phone. I be making videos. I be making videos sitting at my desk dancing and stuff at the desk. All that. There's some days I put that phone on do not disturb. And I don't know
Mm-hmm.
that nobody's text me until after 5:30. I might have
Right.
made phone calls out, but I didn't know nothing that came in because I can't take my eyes off this computer and put my hands on that phone keyboard because I got
At
to
the same
have it
time.
on the computer keyboard. And they don't really understand that. And I've had gentlemen, well, a gentleman, because he watches the show. I don't think I'll be doing stuff.
Oh.
Oh, I have a gentleman that texts me, and if I don't text back, like around one by 1, 2 o'clock, and like, you had woke up late. I'm like, no, just when I clocked in, like I was in. Like I saw your text. I saw it. And I said to
Mm-hmm.
myself, but like I had a meeting. I clocked in at 9. I had a meeting at 9:30. Like I ain't had time, and then time got away from me. And he be like, okay. And like the last time that said, if you say so,
Mm.
I think I'm gonna have to do a day in the life. Like I'm gonna invite him over. Let him come sit back here while I sit at this desk. And I
He
need you to
might not
sit.
want to leave, Cree.
You always have to leave. You always have to leave. There's certain criteria that you have to meet in order to stay. And there's been no application completed or process bidding process done. in order to stay, in order to have those type of privileges. But I think I might just need to do like a day in the life. Because sometimes, I'll make little videos of different stuff I be doing. But I think that one day I need to just like set up a tripod at 8 o'clock in the morning when I get up and document the whole day from the time I get up in the morning until I clock out. When I slide over here to where I'm looking at you at, and at the fact that I be up till sometimes 1, 2 o'clock in the morning doing stuff. So if people realize like I have real life, like business work, my job is like really like that. I just don't put on no clothes and drive to a building. But like so I have a different level of respect for a man when he says like I was literally busy. My only thing is, and I've had to say in the past couple of years, you could just send me a text message back and say I'm busy.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm bad with that because as an individual, and I'm doing better with that because I just be like
Mm-hmm.
I get back to it when I get back to it, and not thinking about how that devalues the person or how that can diminish the relationship with that person because you have not because they had you in their thoughts and they held you in high enough regard to call you or text you. How dare you not do the same thing for them?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, I got 3 phone calls to make tomorrow.
Cause like having a valid reason doesn't necessarily erase the impact
No,
of it.
but explaining what happened or letting someone understand why these behaviors are such can assist. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
after a while it starts to become a repetitive behavior, and it becomes a pattern, and then it becomes nonchalant, that's a completely different ball game.
Right. Because that's one of the things like because I think that people shouldn't really necessarily think that the there's going to be equal all the time. Like,
Hmm.
because I just feel like relationships don't work like that. They're not
No.
50-50, they're not 80-20. Like, whatever the percentage is going to be, is going to be one way or
Hmm.
another, not going to work. Because if anybody don't show up with what's missing, then it's going to be a problem.
Right.
All I got is 30 and all you got is 30, and neither one of us shows up with the other 40, that's when the problems are going to arise. But like, how long can a season last before that becomes like a permanent thing? Because I know people will say, like, I'm just in my grinding season. I'm just trying to get this together or that together. Like, how long is too long before you kind of figure out a balance, you think?
That's the individual thing. It depends on the individual. How do we tell somebody how long it takes them to heal from grief? You can't. That's individually based, right? So if somebody has a goal, like if they're on their grinding season, okay, you might be on your grinding season because you're trying to get yourself together for a house or a new car or a trip, whatever it may be. Okay, so how long, what's the time frame that we're looking at for me to know? Because if you value me in the relationship that we have, then you'll let me know these things. You won't leave me in limbo. You might say, okay, look,
Mm-hmm.
for the next 3 months, look, we only gonna be able to go out or link up or catch something to eat, catch a movie, catch something to do together, maybe twice a month. Because right now I need to save, I need to, but again, communication is important. Now, if the
Tell
person
me the
is not really that
plan.
important to you, if the person is not that important to you, then you just want to go ahead and let it do what it do because again, they're not that important. So I don't have to give you a play-by-play of what's going on with me. I don't have to let you
Mm-hmm.
know any of that because guess what? You're really not an intricate part of my life. You're just a space filler. And unfortunately,
Right.
sometimes people don't realize that that's all they actually are is a space filler or a time filler or something to do when I don't got nothing to do.
Baby, let me tell you, 1 or 2 times and you spraying something on me that you didn't share with me. I'm like, so you didn't bother to tell me that. You didn't think you I'm not even gonna ask, like, Okay, so that's 2, 3 things that they didn't bother to tell me, and they telling me either while it's happening or after it's already happened. At this
But
point, at this grown point in my life, you ain't even got to tell me. Cause I have those, I guess because of the way that I set up the way that I set up my situations. In order to be in a situation with me, there's certain things that you have to do in order to not keep me, but to keep my attention because I know I got ADHD. Like you really in all things. So you really need to make sure that you tap in with me regularly, or
mhm,
I'm going to go off on a that's just naturally my personality. But like 1 or 2 times, like I remember I had a conversation with a gentleman at one point where you didn't, even with my friends. I'll say that with my friends. If you plan 2, 3 things with things to do and you don't call me to invite me to said things, regardless of what's going on, I'm going to feel like I might not be correct, but I'm going to feel like I am not necessarily your friend or that type of friend. I'm going to feel like a space filler.
mhm,
Even in that type of situation, because there was no communication, I was left out of certain things.
right,
And if I'm left out of those things, I don't feel like I'm as valued, my presence is as valued. And sometimes you can be a different type of friend. Like you may not be the party friend, you might not be the
mhm,
go ride friend. But if that is the case, I I think that people should let other people know that.
right,
When especially if it's brought up. I feel like it should be a conversation of, well, no, I really didn't think that that would be so, rather than just not. Because the just not doesn't translate over as, oh, you just didn't call me. It translates over as,
I
damn,
don't, you don't with me,
you don't fuck with me. You don't fuck with me. Like I thought you did.
right,
And it's the same thing in romantic relationships. If you don't tell me something, I feel like you don't fuck with me like that.
right,
So like you said, communication is pertinent, is important
mhm,
beyond the level of importance. Well, we right now, before we get out of here, we're gonna play a game. We're gonna
okay.
play a game.
Oh Lord,
It's called
I don't play games, well, Crystal. We learned that
well see
at the Valentine's Day.
right, right, right. So it's time for a rapid fire round, and this is called circumstance or deal breaker. I'm gonna give you 8 situations evenly divided between friendships and romantic relationships.
Okay,
Tell me your first answer. You can explain briefly, but do not turn a rapid fire question into a TED talk.
okay. I promise I won't make it a thesis.
You ready?
I'll give the cliff notes. Okay, let's go.
Okay. A friend struggles to celebrate your success because their life is falling apart. Circumstance the deal breaker.
Circumstance.
A
So
friend reveals.
if this is not a consistent behavior of the person, if it's this one time event, or maybe if you've had great successes like back to back, like say you graduated,
Mhm.
then you got whatever your licensure is for what you graduated for, and they weren't able to celebrate with you. But once you got that new job, they were able to celebrate with you. Then I say a circumstance.
That's I agree. A friend reveals your private business every time you have a disagreement. I swear to God. I swear to God.
For all my church going folks, bitch. That we ain't got nothing to talk about. First of all, why we falling out this many times for you to be telling my business in the first place? So what I'm dealing with you for? Because one friend that I had, the first friend, one of the first friends I met when I moved to South Carolina. in 1996. She and I are still friends, and it's a few of them that I'm still friends with, like that.
Mhm.
But I don't give a good god doggone. I don't care what happens. We have never had a falling out where she's told any of my business, and that heifer knows some things. Like she knows some things,
Right.
and never told my business. So yeah, I can't rock with you, shawty. We cutting ties all day. We
A
good.
friend di- a friend disappears during your difficult seasons, but always returns when you're doing well.
I'm stuck between that one
Mm.
because depending on if that friend is going through their own stuff too. Sometimes people
Right.
don't think about that. And I had this situation happen to me, unfortunately. And I still feel bad that I allowed that friendship to dissolve the way it did because
Mm.
that person held a lot of value to me. But when they were going through what they were going through, I was in a depression I didn't even realize I was going through. All I was doing was going through the motions of acting like I was okay. And I was covering it up with partying and drinking. So everybody sees me out and about and you see me lit, but emotionally I am depleted. So then I had to realize, hell, for you in a depression and you got to come up out of this. So once
Mhm.
I realized that, I was like, you know what? I did her a terrible disservice because at a time when she needed me to be a good friend and a good sister, I did not do so. And so at some point in time, I had to figure out a way to rebuild that or to at least apologize because now I see where I was wrong. And I can't be upset with her because she felt and she was there when I was going through things. So I'm torn between the two.
Mm. We'll revisit that later.
Okay.
A friend expects you to support every crisis, but never is available for yours.
That's a laughable moment for me because guess what? I might keep you around just to see the melee that's going on with you, but I already know not to put too much stock into nothing we about to do with you.
True indeed. Now
I'm
we're
just
going to switch.
saying. So I'm gonna say that's a deal breaker due to circumstances because
Due
I'm a
to
still I
circumstances.
might still deal with you and I still
Mm.
might listen to you. But the amount of value and stock that I put into the conversation that we have may be different. I may just be like, oh wow, I hate that happened, honey.
Or
Hmm.
like the dude say, that's crazy. Baby, I hear that's crazy. I'm out. They be like, dudes be like, wow, that's crazy.
Look, that be me sometime too. 'Cause I'm just saying.
Baby, I've been in conversation where I've heard a woman tell a guy like all this stuff. She like, yeah, da 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 da. That just go, wow, that's crazy. Bitch, she don't give you
But
know,
sometimes that's all you can say though. Think about it now.
right?
If somebody done unloaded a whole lot, hell, you can't even process it at this point in time. You looking like, then you look at yourself like, hello, hello.
Deal breaker circumstance crazy. A person needs extra reassurance because their former partner cheated. Circumstance a deal breaker.
Hmm. You said, say that again. What's the question
A
again?
person needs extra reassurance because their former partner cheated.
That's a deal breaker for me because you needy. I can't. But you have to know your limitations. If you're a person that does not mind giving all of that, that's one thing. But for me,
Mm.
my capacity, I ain't got but so much in my cup. And I ain't about to pour in a cup that got a hole in it. So if I
Hey,
got to keep on reassuring you, then I'm depleted. Look at we supposed to give out of our overflow, not not what we got. So yeah, no. If you
mm,
if you like the Build a Bear project, then go for it. But for me, that's gonna be a deal breaker.
Mm.
Cause I ain't got time to keep on putting the band on. Oh, you so cute. You look so good in that. Oh, I just love you. Oh, yeah, no. Goodbye.
I was into building about 15 years ago. I
You
was
heard what you
into
say,
building
right?
because I knew I was building myself, right? I knew I was
Uh-huh.
working on me. So if I had to throw a little brick and mortar over to you, listen, because I got spent, I got extra, and I got support for when I'm short. So I got you. But right now, in the year of our Lord 2026, I need for you to go get what you need from where you need to go get it from and get the way you need to be. And I'm not even gonna close the door on you because we've had conversations. There's clearly a reason why you here. You are welcome to come back and spin the block. I ain't gonna count you out. But I need you to go get what you need. I need you to
Okay.
go get what you need. A person compares every disagreement to something their ex did.
Deal breaker. That means you haven't healed yet from that ex. That's a lot of unhealthy comparisons. When you start to do too much talking about the ex or talking about different things that happen with the ex, and especially when it's the negative stuff, you still haven't healed from that
Hmm.
situation. So you need to go reevaluate, self evaluate, do some self reflection, do some healing and some growth, and you'll be in a better place. But that's a deal breaker for me. Nah, I'm good.
I had a conversation well, that was this weekend, with a mom who was telling me that she had, based on a video she saw of mine, that she was telling her daughter and her son that are like a year apart, both of them are early 20s, to stop meeting people and divulging everything that went on in their past
Yep.
relationships. She was like, she told them to stop doing that, to focus more on, if you say you ready for a new relationship, if you're saying you're ready,
Hmm.
that should not be a conversation.
Right.
She was like, now if you find out that you dated their brother or their sister or something, like she said something like that intricate where you might have to, she was like, but she said she sat them down and told them to stop discussing past relationships with people, because if your intention is really to start something new and you're really where you need to be with starting that something new, that's irrelevant. If you're where you need to be,
Right.
that's
But,
irrelevant.
but that was the key, being where you need to be. And see, the bad part about that is when you start to divulge everything that happened in the past relationship, you giving people the exact ammunition that they need because they know exactly how much you're going to deal with, how much you're going to take, how much you're going to tolerate. Oh, well, she said she was cheated on. So, I mean, I'm a ain't shit nigga. So, I'm going to do what I do.
I'm pretty much you this is pretty much what it is at this point. Like I just and I agree with that. I remember, and I'm gonna say his name, he watched too. One of my exes, Coop told me one time, after long years after we dated, he was like, Chris, I remember the night I came to your house and you were upset, and I asked you why you were upset. And you told me that your ex had proposed to his new girlfriend. He was like, and you were so hurt. Like you wasn't. Like we weren't trying to get to that point where we could be in a relationship. And he was like, even when we got in a relationship, I couldn't let go
That thought.
of that image of that night.
Mm-hmm.
That you were that upset. He said, even though we weren't a couple at the time, I couldn't let go of the fact that you were that hurt about that nigga who had moved on clearly. And you said it had been a couple of years. And you sitting in the car with me almost in tears. He said, but I liked you so much and I wanted to be with you so bad. I tried it, but I could never let go of it.
Shout out to
And I was
Coop.
like, ooh. After that, after he shared that with me, that's my dog. That's my dog. That's my homeboy. That's my people's not that my homeboy. After he told me that, I promise you, I ain't said nothing about an ex since. I don't have none. I don't even have exes at this point. I hate to be. I don't have any.
All I'm gonna say, all my exes live in Texas. If you want to know anything about them, go ask them. They all spread out. We
No,
got some in San Antonio. You got some in Houston. You got some in Dallas. Oh, okay.
You got a couple in Austin.
Yeah, Austin too.
A person has limited availability because they are raising children and caring for an aging parent. Deal breaker or circumstance.
Circumstance. And I don't mean no harm when I say that because the parent, after a while, either the parent is going to get well or they're not. And at some point in time, the child is going to get grown. So, I mean,
I always heard about how when you get in your 40s, it's like a transitional period because the older people are in fact older
mm-hmm,
and they're starting to decline.
mm-hmm,
And and by my own witness, the
mm-hmm,
decline looks just like a small child.
mm-hmm,
That's what they're going back to. And
mm-hmm,
then you have your kids who are now adults, but still need you in some capacity, even if
mm-hmm,
they own place, whatever, they still need you. They never stop needing you for something, even if it ain't financial. Like they still need you for something, if it ain't nothing but advice, how to as an adult. Like if you was actually a decent parent, your kids still gonna run back to you when
mm-hmm.
they try to figure out how to do something as a grown person. They gonna
Right,
try to fuck me. They gonna be like, let me call my mama, let me call my daddy, because I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know how to do this. So like I give a lot of grace to people because I'm literally living it
right.
real time now. I don't do little children. I don't do little children at this big age. Your child under 15, I really can't. I can't understand. I can't fool with it. They got to be at least 10th grade. But, but when people tell me stuff like that, I kind of I give them grace. A
They got to
person
be at least in middle school for me.
and say they got to be out.
No, at least in middle school.
Yeah, like it got to be.
Middle school, you got to be in middle
It
school at
be
least.
little. Like you shouldn't
Like
have to
I
like
can't have you. I can't. We ain't going to 5K graduation with the everybody. Nah, we ain't fit to do all of that, and we ain't no.
you should have the short school list. You can't have the
Right,
long
you right.
school
No, I
supply
don't need to buy
list.
Kleenex and everything else for the whole class. I ain't got time.
That's the Kleenex. A person, because you know I said, Lord, I listen. The Kleenex be necessary. Oh, the Kleenex
All
be
them snotty
necessary.
nose. You know, I used to work at the elementary school. And I used to be like, oh here, baby, here,
Winter, summer, fall, spring. They noses is running, baby.
and all. Go sit down now.
And they touching
Right,
everything.
and then talk about some Miss Jackson. No, go home.
No, baby. I know I hug you every day, but stop. Look, I had them kids in them first, second, and third graders at McLaurin that were in my room because I was a TA. I had them, they be like, they would come, they would stop like 2 feet from my table and be like, it's cold, man. I don't have any eraser. Can I have an eraser? I'm like, come on. I would like have to wait because I had them train them. Don't you
Right,
walk all the way up on me.
right.
You
Don't be rolling
stop,
up on me like that.
you stop, you wait to be acknowledged. Because I might be doing something. Wait
Right.
to be acknowledged, and then I will give you what you need. But they used to be like, Miss Coleman, can I get a can I get some Kleenexes? How many do you want, baby? I think I need 4. Do you think I need 4? Like the little kids.
No, I think you need the whole box. Bring it back. Just bring it back. Just bring it back.
You need to go sit there with you.
Because you
And
over
at
here looking like
McLaurin,
the
they were
garbage
sitting
pail
on,
kids. Yeah,
they
no.
were Montessori. They were sitting on mats. So, baby, take the whole container over to the mat. Okay, say a person says they are healing but refuses counseling, accountability, or any real effort.
Deal breaker.
And you know
Because
us black people don't go to no therapy.
so I'm gonna say that no, but the gamut of things you named, right?
Mm.
Accountability. If you're not willing to take accountability for your actions, then you're never going to be wrong. You're always going to be right. Nobody is everybody else's fault. So that doesn't make for a healthy relationship. in any aspect.
Mm.
Accountability is, let me tell you something. Without accountability in relationships, everything is going to suck, because I need to be able to identify when I'm wrong. I need to be able to identify when I've hurt someone. I need to be able to identify those things. I need to be able to identify my fault in anything negative that happens in this relationship. I need to be able to do that, because that's only fair
Hmm.
to the other individual. And it's fair to yourself too. Keep it a buck with yourself.
Right. The biggest lies we tell, I can't remember who said it, but they said the biggest lies we tell are the lies that we tell to ourselves.
Yep. Because guess what? We know good and doggone well we ain't a good person. And we so I'm the best person in the world. No, good and doggone well you cheating on everybody and you scamming everything and you stealing the people money out the church. Go sit down somewhere.
Not true. Now, maybe you're the baggage. We've talked about everybody else long enough. Now it's time to turn that mirror around, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we are not dealing with baggage. Sometimes we are the baggage. Now, what questions should someone ask themselves about how they show up in friendships and romantic relationships? We're entering into new ones.
The number one question you need to ask is, what do I have to give after my cup is full? What do I have left to give? Um, and the other question you need to ask yourself is, am I truly healed? Am I truly healed and ready to pursue some type of relationship? Am I in a space that's conducive for me to be able to get to know people, for me to able to let my
Mm,
guard down enough for people to get to know me? Um,
right,
trying to think what other question. What are my expectations? What are your
right.
expectations? Right? Those are things that we need to know, because that's where disappointment comes in, when we don't have a clear understanding of what expectations are for a relationship, be it romantic or friendship.
Mm,
If the only expectation you have for me is to meet me at Epic on Thursday for karaoke, hey, I ain't gotta show up for you when your people ain't doing well, because the only thing you want me to do is come hang out with you on
this
Thursdays.
is cool.
you know
Right.
um but if the expectation is for me to be a genuine friend and be there for you in any aspect, then that's completely different. I need to ask how everybody is doing. I need to ask what's going on with you. I need to say a prayer for you, even if I'm not asking you how you're doing. I at least need to be able to do that
Mm,
for you. um
mm,
what
mm. I got
say
triggered.
why?
Triggered. Because I had a church person, some church folk, that reached out to someone close to me and asked, like, what's going on? Because they know something's going on because they can see the internet.
Mm,
And they were like, do you think I should reach out to her? And my sister cousin told them no,
mm,
because the situation being what it's being. She said, I don't know how receptive she would be to you wanting to call and pray for her. And when she told me about it, I said to myself and to her, if you are who you say you are, and you believe you are who you are to me, should you not be praying for me anyway?
yes.
Whether I come to church, because that's the thing that you said, like, because I'm praying for you anyway. Like, should you not already be
Hmm.
doing that for me?
Yes.
Should you not already be? Why is it that you need for me to pour out myself to you? To you, God already know. Why
Hmm.
do I have to pour out to you in order for you to say that your prayer is worthy of my name being mentioned?
So I'm gonna
And
say
my
this.
cousin said,
Go
and my
ahead.
sister cousin said, that why I had told her I would talk to you first. You know what she said? That I would talk because I know how you feel, but I wanted to just check with you now because you know you may not feel. Because I've always been a strong proponent of if you love me, not in love with me, but if you just love
Right.
me and you have a prayer life, I trust that when if you feel, even you ain't got to know. If you feel like I might need a little shout out, you gonna give me a shout out because I unfortunately I expect people, I expect me from other people. I know that if someone tells me something, you could just tell me that your bunion on your baby soul has been hurting you for weeks and you ain't had no relief. Just ain't passing. I'm probably when I go up, I'm gonna go up and be like, you know, for your healing, da, 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 and that there's no other conditions that are linked to your dot dot dot. But that's just me. So a spiritual leader not feeling comfortable or kind of saying, hey, I feel like I need to touch base with them so I can pray for you is a little.
So what I was always taught is you don't have to know what the person's circumstances are in order to pray for them. Because at the end of the day, when you truly have the relationship that you say some people say they have with God, God already knows what it is. So he already knows what you're coming to him asking on behalf of that individual. And you don't have to know, okay, I'm praying for the bunion on that baby toe or on the left side for that comb to be removed. I don't have to know all of that. Lord, you know the situation, you know the circumstances. I come to
Right.
you and I just lift them up for you. You know,
That's
that
simple. And mind you, these are the people that taught me that mindset. So I be so confused. I be so confused.
so
Luckily,
the
I
bad
know
part
I'm
about
for
it,
myself.
the bad part about it is that a lot of times people live off the do as I say, not as I do. That's why so I'm gonna say this and I don't mean no harm, but it's just real. That's why I can't deal with church folk. I can't deal with church folk. Give
Because
me
church
a
folk and
man,
Christian are two different things.
right? Give me a man or woman that goes according to what Yahweh says, and I'm good. If you are going
Mhm.
according to Yah's way, if you are going according to Yahweh's way and what he has designed for you and for us, then it certain things you're just not going to do, certain ways you're just not going to move. It's
Mhm.
not going to happen.
But I'm saying that triggered me a little bit because and only because I know that it is possible. I know that there are people who stand in spaces for me,
Mhm,
even when my faith is unbalanced, when
mhm,
I'm questioning everything that's going on around me. I know that there are people that are standing in the gap for me
mhm.
because I always get whatever revelation I need, even when I'm not asking. Even when I'm saying I ain't doing all that, I still get what I need. So I know there's other people advocating for me, even in my
Right,
stubbornness. So the fact that someone who is a leader would reach out to someone else, first of all, just not come to me directly, but
right.
and be like, hey, should I do this, or do you think she'll be receptive to that? So
Well, if
you
it's coming from a
recognize the fact
genuine
that our
place,
relationship isn't what it should be. You recognize that. You know that. But do you really you know me long enough to know that I would never disrespect you. I will always honor your title and who you are to me.
mm-hmm.
You know that. No matter how much you watch me online or whatever, you know what it's hitting for. So that's why I say it just triggered me a little bit because I know that there are people who stand in the gap for me and to have someone question whether or not they should.
That's a whole nother story. That's a them issue, not a you issue anyway.
So I'm gonna ask you, with all that we spoke about baggage and carrying it, I want what would you say to someone who acknowledges that they are carrying a certain level of baggage into their new relationships going forward, and what are things that they can do to help steer them in a way, since they know they're taking accountability, they know they have it, can steer them in a way that can help them move along with their lives.
Find trusted people that you can talk to unpack. Um, that's the most important thing. Being able to unpack those bags, or being able to unpack that particular baggage itself, so that way you can go ahead and run the race that you need to run clear and free. Um, making sure you definitely get, if not a therapist, somebody that you can trust and talk to. Journaling is going to always be a plus as well. Making sure you allow yourself to get some type of centering and grounding. Meditation is going to be important at that time. Self-reflection is really important. And the biggest thing of all is self-forgiveness. And we forgot about that one, Crystal. A lot of times we carry baggage from things that we haven't forgiven ourselves from. And so when we can actually forgive ourselves for past things that we've done, past things we've allowed people to do to us, things that we allowed to be stolen from us, things we gave away, then that makes the journey a little easier as well, because then we're able to look ourselves in the mirror holistically and truthfully for what it is and not just superficial. Um, just trying to be and wanting to be a better individual. When you want to do that, then there are certain things that you're going to want to do. And again, that therapy, that grounding, self-forgiveness, and always remembering that we still have value no matter what past traumas, pain, or anything that we've dealt with. That doesn't diminish our value, our worth, but that actually shines us up a little bit, because if we haven't gone through anything, then how can we get to where we need to be? Right? You think about how a diamond is created. It's created under pressure. It's created under extreme circumstances. So in order for us to shine like the diamonds that we were meant to be, sometimes we have to go through those situations, but we have to allow ourselves to go through them, find the best way to let ourselves let all of that out, and then come back and rise like a mighty phoenix.
Girl, that don't work. I'm gonna take through the rest of my week.
It's that self-love and self-worth. When we understand that, and now I not that's one thing I'm grateful for, understanding the importance of that self-worth, and remembering no matter what the circumstances are, you still have worth and you still have value. Just a circumstance does not diminish that. It actually adds to it. That's what makes you even more creative.
Mm-hmm.
You think about what they call a mosaic, right? It doesn't seem like the parts are supposed to be together, but when they come together, it's such an amazing piece of art that you can't even explain, like, the level of beauty it has, because it's beautiful on so many different aspects from so many
Mm-hmm.
different angles. And so when we think of ourselves as people that are healing, that's what we need to remember. We're like that beautiful tapestry or those beautiful mosaics. That's what
I think
created
that
us.
people don't. That's why I push self love so much. And there's people who don't get into the the content of the content. Understand, they hear self love and they think something selfish. They think something that is self serving. When in reality, the more I know from experience, the more that I redirected the love that I was giving to others, to myself, and focused and said, you know what? I need to do this because I love me.
Hmm.
I need to do this for me because I love me. Those things translated, once my life started to change, those things translated over to the people that I love the most, because it made me feel so good to love on myself in that way. Now I want to love everybody in the same way that I
Hmm.
love on myself. I want to acknowledge everyone the same way. I want to give attention to everyone the same way that I give attention to myself. And I don't think that people realize that by the time we're 35, most of us have been through something. Like, we have trusted the wrong friend. We've loved the wrong person, ignored a red flag, stayed too long, left too late, forgiving someone who wasn't sorry, and
Hmm.
possibly
That
hurt
was
people
actually
that were
sorry.
and protecting people while trying to protect ourselves from being hurt. Like protecting other people that we know did us wrong.
Mm.
And I don't think that people realize that having a past does not make you damaged. Having
No.
responsibilities does not mean that you have baggage. Needing time to heal does not make you unworthy of friendship or love. But refusing to deal with the pain that can turn into a burden that everyone else has to deal with around you.
Mm-hmm.
A new friend shouldn't have to compete with loyalty obstacles just because someone else betrays you. A new partner shouldn't have to surrender their privacy because someone else cheated. The people who love you can support your healing, but they cannot do your healing for you.
No.
The people who love you can't support your healing unless you allow them to.
Mm-hmm.
They can reassure you, but they should not have to live under investigation. They can extend grace, but grace is not permission to repeat disrespect. And they can understand why you behave a certain way while understanding why you decided that this behavior is unhealthy. Because a lot of times we recognize the fact that we'll recognize that a certain situation or the way that we were behaving is unhealthy. And it takes a little bit of a minute for other people, because that's the way that they know you, to
Mm-hmm.
accept that you're no longer living in that unhealthy space. So sometimes the answer isn't that someone is a bad person. Sometimes they simply have more baggage than the connection can safely carry.
Yeah.
You can have compassion and still say no. You can forgive a friend without restoring of the friendship. You
Mm-hmm.
can love someone romantically and still not accept that they won't love you correctly. You can understand the circumstances without sacrificing your boundaries. The goal is not to arrive in every relationship perfectly healed. The goal is to know that what you're carrying, take responsibility for it, and stop expecting innocent people to pay debts that they never created. Your past may explain you, but it doesn't control every friendship and romantic relationship that you enter. So, with that being said, I want to see, before we close, let everybody know, because I know they're gonna be like, "Oh, this was 2 hours," and they're gonna be 2 hours late. But they're gonna be like, "Yeah, this was 2 hours." And I say, let everyone know where they can connect with you. Let
You
them
know
know.
I don't know. Huh?
Listen, even if you don't know where they can connect with you, I'll pop it up on the screen. But
Okay, thank you.
let them know who you are.
Well, so I, again, Tish Jackson, but Letitia Jackson. I am Letitia Simone Jackson. Let's give it to you
Hmm.
that way, because that's how it comes up professionally.
Yes.
Yeah, but everybody knows me as Tish. Uh, licensed professional counselor. Um, so therapist, motivational speaker, uh, employment specialist, family and therapy specialist. Oh man, the list goes on and on. My passion is more or less motivational speaking and talking to the kids more than anything. Helping women in recovery overcome addiction and past abuse and trauma. Anybody dealing with those types of issues, that is where my passion lies. And also the founder of Ellis Jackson Counseling and Outreach, which we're starting up some things, working with that, trying to partner with some other people. So if you know anybody that knows somebody that knows everybody, let them know, it's some great things coming out of Florence that we're looking to do, to help our community become a better community, one good deed at a time. One kindness always matters. One kind deed at a time.
Thank you, Boo. And
Thank you,
thank you
boo.
for tapping in with me and having this honest conversation with me. Um, Now, y'all, because normally I click the other person off, but I ain't bothering to do that because I ain't got to click off. Now I want to hear from you all in the comments. How much baggage is too much baggage after the age of 35? And which baggage is harder to deal with? The baggage from a friend that brings the baggage into your life, or the baggage of a romantic relationship? Make sure that you subscribe to Life According to Cree, the podcast, and share this episode with somebody that you may think may need to unpack a few things. Like a lot of times, y'all don't know. Sometimes you don't know where you need. Sometimes you need to hear it in plain English. Sometimes it's not as cute and as pretty as you need to hear. Sometimes you need to hear it in your native tongue. Y'all hear you hear me? But visit lifeaccordingtocree.com to find more ways to live, learn, and flourish. I will see you all on Sunday for the Sunday Life Check at 7 p.m., where we will be going over our weekly challenges. Make sure that you subscribe. And I'm going to tell you, go ahead and download the little workbook. The workbook costs $5. $5. It costs less than these earrings that I bought. These earrings was $25. You can get this workbook for 20 and be able to follow along for the week. I am Cree Cole, and you are tapped in with Cree Cole. Remember, loving yourself first is not selfish. It's about loving yourself in a way that teaches you how to love others better. Until next time, what it used to be on the Wayans Brothers? It used to be like, May Marlon say cheese, and cheese say bye. Bye, y'all. Till next time.